Good evening, everyone. To this three, day three of the online FTP sponsored by AICT Atal Academy. And yes, Garimaji, it's day three of the AICT Atal sponsored online FTP on generative AI fluency, organized by SSC NASCOM. And we've been having some concerns. I hope some of you have taken the assessment. I'm hoping that you guys are also consuming the course and finishing the course and then taking the assessment, as I have explained earlier also. Just waiting for the just waiting for the trainers to join in. We'll start around 6, 6, 6, 1, 2, 3. Welcome to everyone. Welcome all. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Vaibhav.
Hi, hi, how are you? Can I be heard clearly?
Good. Yes, 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 you are quite audible. And we're just waiting a
Wonderful.
couple of minutes for everyone to join in.
No
Yeah.
worries.
Yeah.
We'll just set up. Excellent.
We have about 165 faculty members who have registered for this Vaibhav, and almost 100 plus have been attending over the last 2 days. So this is day
Wonderful.
three. We've
Wonderful.
had sessions on generative AI in healthcare, generative AI in robotics, and then of course overview and prompt engineering. And the what we are telling the faculty is we have created a group for them on Future Skills Prime, where the course
Right,
content is available, and then there is then assessment which is also available for the faculty members. And once they clear that assessment, they need to score 70% in the assessment to get the certificate from AICT Atal.
right.
So that's the flow of the program. And then, of course, we have more sessions on generative AI over the next 2, 3 days. So we have a closing ceremony on Saturday, and sessions start from 2 o'clock on Saturday. Set sessions start from that time.
Very nice.
So yes, 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 and it's great to have you uh,
Of course, always
on
my
the
pleasure.
as a trainer. So let me just begin the session. In between, if there are any questions that the faculty members have on how to take the assessment, though I have explained it multiple times, I might just intervene to share the process again. But the good thing is that other faculty members are also responding to the queries and helping the others to navigate Future Skills Prime and take the assessment. So, one request to faculty members is that it's a privilege to have Vibhav with us. So, please do engage and interact with him and get all your doubts cleared. So, with that, I'll welcome Vibhav Mittal for this session. He is a lawyer, a practicing lawyer working with Anand and Anand, and he has been practicing intellectual property rights law for over 11 years and focusing on AI ethics and responsible AI for over 5 years. It's a relatively nascent field. I think he's been practicing AI since the time it has come into its own, and uh, like I would say, has the first mover advantage. He has been practicing it for so long. So, no one better than him to guide us through responsible AI and ethics in AI. He's also been working with NASCOM to develop the playbook. So, pleasure to have you here. Over to you, Vibhav.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm very happy to be here to be talking about this. And thank you so much for setting up the context, Kamna, because I understand this is extremely comprehensive in terms of generative AI as a tool, generative AI and its applications in different sectors. But what we're going to be doing today is that we're going to be stepping back a little bit conceptually to look at ethics. And then, while we understand ethics, we're going to connect it and make it completely practical by moving to responsible AI and AI governance. Right? From that perspective, as people keep joining, I'm going to share my screen and you just open you should see my slides very shortly. Yeah, there we go.
Please do share the slides with me after this so that I can share it with the participants as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Will do, will do. So, just so that we understand where I'm coming from, and we understand for everyone who's here on the call, right, or here in the class, I'm an AI, IP, and an AI and IP lawyer. That's one piece. Three different things. I'm also an ISO 42001 lead implementer. And in one line, I'm looking at AI holistically from a non-technical legal plus lens. I'm a partner, associate partner at Anand and Anand, and I'm also doing this from multiple perspectives to sort of create this perspective, right? The approach that we're building in, right? But the key part here is that this is a holistic focus on AI from a non-technical legal plus lens. Each of these things will become clearer to us as we go along. Right now, I want to, because we've been talking, you've already been exposed to generative AI in healthcare and even the concept of prompt engineering. In this class, I want to step back and sort of start from the beginning and kind of walk you through what is the way how this field evolved and where we are today, sort of contextualizing everything from both theory to practice. We're covering what is AI, we're covering what is generative AI. Then we're going to look at a concept of AI ethics. Then we'll see generative AI ethics. And the question that you should be thinking at this point of time is there first of all, what is AI ethics? Really, ethics? I mean, it's so abstract. And then, if there is something known as AI ethics, what is generative AI ethics and are they different? And assuming that we know what these two things are, we are then looking at what is their connection to the concept of responsible AI? Then we're going to move to AI governance guidelines. And then we're going to move to the developer's playbook for responsible AI. But what we're doing today is we're covering AI ethics and moving from theory to practice. With that in mind, let me start off with the first sort of perspective, which I assume some of you may already know, right? And it's important for us to set out this foundation, right? So, artificial intelligence is the term or the field actually arose way back in 1956. And that's important for us to kind of think through that, right? 1956. We are in 2025. So it's not something that has just sprung up when ChatGPT came out. ChatGPT became popular in the end of November 2022. The term was coined in 56, and the idea of calling it artificial intelligence was that many participants believed that a machine as intelligent as a human being was around the corner, capable of carrying out cognitive tasks that humans can do. And I want to sort of keep emphasize this again as people are joining in. We believed that a machine as intelligent as a human being was around the corner in 1956, capable of carrying out cognitive tasks that humans can do. So if we see in the framing of AI itself, we're talking about a machine that can do what a human can do. That leads us to question what it is to be human. And that also leads us to constantly question what is the machine actually doing. This entire notion of creating a machine that is capable of carrying tasks as a human being can do is known as strong AI, general AI, or artificial general intelligence. That was the goal. Artificial general intelligence. A machine that can carry out tasks that a human can do. Why am I emphasizing this? Why am I on the first slide? Why are we taking so much time on this? Because this is the foundation on which we understand AI. The way our fears, expectations, ethics, responsible AI, governance, risks stems from this understanding that AI is supposed to be what a machine can do. Now, is that accurate, inaccurate? Let's go further. First of all, machines that can carry out cognitive tasks just like the way a human is. The concept of artificial general intelligence is technologically far away. When we will reach there is not known. Sure, we have advanced AI models. Generative AI models are advanced. They are advancing. AI is carrying out certain tasks that humans can do. That is a nuance to this aspect. But the key point is that this notion that it is artificial general intelligence, it is far away. As a matter of fact, what we see today is this term known as artificial narrow intelligence, which is task specific AI trained on large amounts of data, and it detects patterns from that data. Generative AI is like, and it's a pattern recognition tool trained on large amounts of data, fourth bullet, identifying patterns from the data and operating as a pattern recognition tool. Generative AI is slightly different from this, and I'll explain how. But it's extremely important for us to understand artificial general intelligence is far away and it is a pattern recognition tool. You want to differentiate. Now, let's take an example. What could be an AI system? Something as simple as an AI system, right? You want to differentiate between a spam email and a legitimate email. You create a data set. Let's assume we have 5 emails. Of course, your data set needs to be more than 5 emails. You label the legitimate email as not spam. You label the spam email as spam, and that way with each email that you're labeling a data set. I'm oversimplifying this to get the point across, which is that I am labeling both my desired output and intent that I want from the AAA system, from my AI system, as a pattern recognition tool, and I'm labeling the input. So I'm putting a description that this is a spam email. A spam email is a spam email. Legitimate email is not spam. Spam email is labeled as spam. When we do it like that, the algorithm will learn which email is spam and which is not. What it is fundamentally doing is that it is just identifying patterns. It is learning patterns from that data. As you keep providing data, second last bullet, expectation is that the algorithm gets better at identifying which email is spam, which is legitimate, and if its results are also fed back into the system, it keeps improving. Let's take a different example. Let's assume that I want to create a AI system that detects the image of a cat. I have a data set which has a cat, a horse, a dog, a owl, and a crow. I am creating an AI system for pattern detection, pattern recognition. I label the cat as cat. On the image of the horse, I say not cat. On the image of dog, I say not cat. On the image of owl, I say not cat. On the image of crow, I say not cat. And then I train the AI system with these systems, with this data. And then it learns from the data set and detects the pattern, recognizes the pattern. Oh, that's a cat. So next time when it is encountered with an image of a cat, it detects, oh, it's a cat, right? So the point is AI is learning from its data set, but this learning is not akin to how a human brain learns and processes things, right? And it's important for us to get this perspective, right? And we've spoken about this. It detects patterns from large amounts of data. Now, what is the difference between AI and previous types of programming? Earlier, you would have programmers sort of give instructions to the AI system. Here, the AI system has learned on its own what is a spam email and what is not a spam email by being trained on large amounts of data. How it created that pattern, how it managed and did identified those patterns, that is in one sense the black box. Let's give a practical example. I'm sure everyone here would have heard black box, right? Right now we're on really on fundamentals of AI, because we have both, all of us here have to align on what do we mean when we are talking about AI. And if you're joining us now, we are talking about AI as artificial narrow intelligence, and we're talking about AI as a pattern recognition tool. And we've just spoken about the term black box. What exactly is a black box? Let's give a easier example that all of us will understand. Let's assume that all of us are solving a maths problem. Now, we may remember that when we see a maths problem, we see the maths problem, the equation or whatever that you've solved. And in the guide, you can go straight back at the end and see the answer. The maths problem that you see, the question, is your input. When you go back in time and you go back to the end of the go back to the end of the book to find the answer, that's the output. The maths question is the input. The answer to the maths question is the output, because that's the output. How you work through in school, in college, or wherever we are working through, we would work through the maths problem. That working of the maths problem is, in one sense, an analogy to how the black box is detecting patterns from data. Right? How did it detect patterns? That black box, it makes a difference. So what's happening there, we don't know. Now, there are different ways to train an AI system, and I'm not getting into these different techniques. There's supervised learning, there's unsupervised learning, there's reinforcement learning. The main point again here is the system may not be 100% accurate. Humans are involved in each way to train an AI system through the mechanisms, and that's going to be the next point. Now that we know that AI is a pattern recognition tool, the question is, what is its connection with data science? What is this concept of machine learning? And are humans completely disappearing? The first point is that machine learning is training the algorithm, which requires technical skills. So we're talking about machine learning and what we just spoke about training an AI system. Data science, on the other hand, is extracting meaningful and useful patterns from those data sets and developing insights for your business. So data science is more than just analyzing data. It's about collecting and preparing the data before it's analyzed, and results have to be interpreted. So see the last bullet. How are humans involved? And let me kind of bring out this distinction for you. When we're talking about AI systems, we keep talking about humans being replaced, humans being this. We have to distinguish between human intervention and human involvement. As AI evolves, human intervention sort of reduces, right? So human intervention in the output may reduce as an AI is evolving. But as human involvement disappear? Perhaps not. Because you know why? Because you needed to capture and clean data. You need sufficient data sets. How do you draw the data sets? How do you restructure the data sets? How do you select the relevant data sets? What is relevant data? What sort of data is to be used? If you create an output, you create an output in that perspective. How do you manage it? Where do you manage it? How do you interpret the output? How interpret the results? So humans are involved in all stages and have an important role. How do you create and select the learning algorithm? How do you interpret the result? What action do you take? Framing the problem, data capture, preparation of data sets, creating and selecting the learning algorithms. Human involvement is key when we speak about AI. So all of this is to get us to understand that AI is a pattern recognition tool which is detecting patterns from large amounts of data. General intelligence is far away. What we have today is artificial narrow intelligence. Examples. of pattern recognition, a recommendation algorithm on an OTT platform, or something that you listen to, could be YouTube, Spotify, something as simple as a Siri or an Alexa. All of that is AI. It may not be generative AI, it may not be chat GPT, but it is AI. And for each one of us here to understand what is AI, it is critical for us to understand what is discriminative AI. That AI is also just doing pattern recognition on your top left. It can be used to detect retinal disease progression. It can be trained on images of a particular disease of the eye, like the cat example that we used, and then by being shown a fresh image of a similar image of the eye, it can detect whether there has been a progression of the disease or not. Is it replacing a doctor in this application? No. Is it helping the doctor? Perhaps. Because the AI system is accurate, then the AI system is saying that, see, I've seen these images. I mean, no, these images have been seen, and there could be retinal disease progression, which means there could be some, your retina could be progressing or degrading with age, and you might be becoming, you might be getting poor sort of vision. Then whether you can use it for fraud management detection. So recommendation algorithm, user submission, predictive policing and crime invention, right? So you can use it in various ways. This is discriminative AI. And that then brings us to generative AI. We don't arrive to generative AI just like that. The field is there from 1956. We've had discriminative AI in our OTT platforms, in the music that we listen to. AI has been there around us. What is different about generative AI? Generative AI is creating new content. Sorry, I have to go back to the previous slide. It is creating new content such as written text, code, images, music, videos. If the output is text or code, we call it a large language model. If the output, on the other hand, is image, video, and music, we call it a large multimodal model. And we have different tools, right, of generative AI models. GPT-4, Cloud, Gemini, Llama, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. Something is generating text, some is generating images, some is helping in software coding. Some of these are open. You may have heard the term open source. Some of these models are open source. Some are proprietary tools, right? And we're not getting to this distinction between proprietary and open source. But the point is, various tools keep coming out. You have to choose as per you need as end users of AI systems. You choose which tool works for you. It's creating content for you. And you need to know the difference between closed source and open source from a more policy perspective, policy and regulatory perspective, which we probably not cover here. But the point I'm trying to highlight here is that generative AI is something that has come along in the journey. And what does it rest on? There's this concept of machine learning, of training AI systems. Generative AI is connected to deep learning, right? And this next slide tells us, it is an AI generated slide, and it tells us a little bit about what and how AI came, right? I just put in some text, and this is an AI generated slide to give you an example that when generative AI creates new content, what does that example look like? In 1956, birth of AI, John McCarthy coins the term AI in the Dartmouth Conference, field of study, groundbreaking woman, brought together visionaries who believed machines could simulate human intelligence. See, there is an error in the slide itself, in the creation. Then deep learning, the underlying technology, the machine learning on steroids that powers AI. Jeffrey Hinton and colleagues revolutionized the field by introducing something known as deep learning. But at the time, see, takes us 30 years to go from birth to deep learning. Then, even though deep learning exists as a concept, it's only with increase of computing power, GPU acceleration, and big data that in 2016 AI starts going mainstream. And if AI starts going mainstream in 2016, according to this AI generated slide, we can go back and see where these products come in that you see on your screen. Probably you remember Alexa from 2017. It is, at the end of the day, AI, right? Now, where is generative AI used? Now, again, before you, and if you're not clear, we're talking about creation of new content, text, code, images, music, and video, right? So when we do that, we have the situation where we have illustrative use cases. We have customer support. It's used in customer support. It could be used in healthcare guidance. It could be used in software development. It could be used in what video editing. It could be used in marketing and advertising material. So there are innumerable ways in which generative AI could be used. And these are just illustrative use cases, right? Just the same way that there could be multiple AI tools, right? There could be multiple generative AI that you could use, right? GPT, Cloud, Gemini, Llama. Same way, when you're talking about generative AI applications, there are multiple ways in which it can be used. These are just illustrative in nature, right? Moving forward, what exactly is ethics? So, if again, I can see people joining in. If you've joined us so far and you're joining us now, we've covered what is AI. We know what is narrow intelligence. We know generative AI is creating new content. We've looked at applications of discriminative AI, which is pattern recognition type of AI, and we've looked at some use cases of generative AI. Now we move to ethics. Now that's so abstract. What is it really? Does it matter? Is there any practical way of doing it? We'll discover now, right? Ethics has two notions. Let me try today and let's try and get a yes and no from everyone on a question I'll ask. Is one is, of course, society's expectation of ethics that you're seeing on screen. There's also a concept known as ethical choice, it's important for us to understand ethics from both these lenses. Let me explain ethical choice. Let's assume the 100 people that we are here on in this classroom. Let's assume all of us are Nobel laureates. We are outstanding technical individuals capable of training an AI algorithm. But all of us are from India. We are building an AI system. And as we spoke about human involvement previously, we are involved in all of these activities. We are framing the problem, we are capturing the data, we are preparing the data sets, we are creating and selecting the learning algorithms. And let's ignore E and F for a second. We're looking at A to D. That's our job. We are here to train an AI system, all 100 of us. What does that mean in terms of ethical choice? Now, let's assume we're all from India. Now, we build with our exceptional expertise, and we've made all of us Nobel laureates. We build the tool in India, but we sell it in Africa. What do you think could be a problem? You can just, if you would like to engage, you can just write it on the chat, and I'd wait for 10 seconds. With best engineers, anything. I mean, would there be a problem? Let's say no. If I'm an engineer, all of us coming in from different parts of the country, building something, creating something, but we sell it in Africa with no African perspective in our room. Is it safe to assume that there might be some issue when we sell it in Africa? The point that is to be understood here is that our right, all data is India based. Right. All right. Exactly. So let's stick to that point only. Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi. Let's stick to that example. If all data is India, right? So the 100 of us from this in this classroom with the best expertise in our selection of data chose certain amount of data. Now, what data is relevant, what data is irrelevant would be determined by our collective experience, our shared moral values, our perspective, our expertise, our experience, which means that when we are building AI systems, intrinsically, even if we might be the most outstanding person in the globe, and I've pitched this at the level of a Nobel laureate, we will still be limited by our experience and our perspective, which means that there is this concept of ethical choice, which means that when I am determining gray issues, whether this is data is relevant or not, my decision of whether it is relevant or not is determined by my own experience, my own expertise. And that is one facet of ethics that no one talks about, which is ethical choice. The choices I make as a human while designing and developing an AI system and embedding my ethical choice in the design of an AI system. Can that be avoided? Can I be, as an engineer, can I be who I am not? My expertise is what it is. It cannot change. Can I be faulted for that expertise? No. That's how I am as an individual. So the question is that when we build these systems, our choices, our moral values are influencing the design of the system, and some of it just cannot be avoided. And therefore, the question of identifying that and recording that during system design is known as the concept of ethical choice, which is what you see at the bottom, right? And then is the second perspective of ethics, which is what you see. What I spoke about was the bottom of the slide. What I'm now talking about is at the is the remaining top 5 points of the slide. The second perspective of ethics is all we speak about. Ethics is abstract. India's ethics is different from Africa's ethics. Africa's ethics is different from US. US ethics is different from Europe. Northern Europe is different from Western Europe. Western Europe is different from Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is different from Russia. Sure. Yes, I agree. But ethics at a fundamental level is what do we expect from AI systems? What do we associate as right and wrong? What is right and wrong can vary from country to country, globe to globe for sure. But let me tell you the conclusion first. If I lower the layer of abstraction, which means if I get into if ethics is something that is very abstract for you, philosophical, general, which does not matter, you will now realize as we go along the next couple of slides that as we get into more detail, and we break down and identify components of ethics, which will take us to principles of responsible AI. You will find that the ethical principles, the expectations from AI, the expectations and the features that we expect from AI systems is more common globally than we actually realize. I'm telling you the conclusion up front. We will be covering this, and therefore you follow. The expectations from AI are more globally are more common than we realize. The implementation of those ethical principles, or I will have to now say responsible AI principles, can vary country to country, region to region, state to state, organization to organization. Hence, the key takeaway here Ethics is not to be taken for granted. Proactive steps need to be taken. Proactive steps. Proactive steps, which means whether there are laws or no laws, if you want to be ethical, you want to be responsible, you want to follow responsible AI, and don't look at accountability from responsible, you have to take proactive steps. Whatever actions that you will take, they will have an impact on an AI system. Let's move forward. I've given you the conclusion. Let's get a little bit more into detail. These, this is one of the ways in which ethics is broken down. I haven't even reached ethics of generative AI. I have not even reached principles of responsible AI. This is just a articulation of ethics into different features that exist or a society would expect from an AI system. Privacy. I'm not going to be reading all of it. You can see it here. Processing of personal data, manipulation and exploitation of vulnerable users, safety, security, transparency. How is it reaching its decision? Can the decision be understood? How it has been reached? Bias. Can anyone here disagree that will this issue, just if we frame this, okay, let's look at the bold ones. Privacy, safety, transparency. Yes. Can you tell me any country in the world that will say privacy is not important, that will say safety is not important, that will say transparency is not important in terms of understanding the decision or how the AI system is teaching, and managing bias is not important? Any country in the world, or even let's check the top second one: manipulation and exploitation of vulnerable users like children. Think about it. Will there be any country in the world that will say, no, actually, we don't care about safety? We don't care about, well, safety is actually a much more nuanced term. And there are some organizations that have gone from safety to security institutes. But let's look at safety as a very umbrella sort of term, right? So we've now come to ethics becoming specific features. And let's look at the Indian context. This is a study that was conducted by India AI way back in 2021, 3 years before the India AI mission last year was launched. And bias was identified as an ethical issue. Principles of responsible AI was spoken on the bottom right. Let's go further. Let's come to generative AI. We've looked at discriminative AI. Sure, these issues might be important. How does it matter in generative AI? Are ethics in generative AI different? This is the study, a paper that's been published very recently, which talks about ethical concerns of generative AI and mitigation strategies, and they mapped ethical concerns of generative AI. And this is coming from Australia. They looked at 39 studies to discuss ethical concerns and mitigation strategies related to large language models. We've already covered this term. What are large language models? Large language models are when generative AI is output in text is code. That's a large language model. We're speaking about 39 studies. What ethical issues have they identified for generative AI? And see how similar they are with respect to discriminative AI. Again, at a broad level, does ethics become abstract? Does ethics become something that we can't achieve? Think about it. Safety, ensuring GenAI systems operate safely and securely, minimizing risks and issues, operational robustness and user protection, accountability. Some of the lawyers in the room, AI systems need to be responsible and their actions can be traced and justified. traced and justified, looking at foreseeable and unforeseeable impacts, bias, transparency, explainable, interpretable, auditable, privacy. See how we are breaking down ethics and how we are seeing these features and how we had a framing of ethics previously. And this is a research done by someone from Australia where they looked at 39 studies, and they've looked across multiple domains: cybersecurity, education, general AI, healthcare, societal impact, legal, public safety, and they're coming back to safety, privacy, bias, transparency, accountability. Can we really say we don't know what ethical issues are? If nothing else, even if 39 papers across these different domains is a very small set, it at least tells us that these are the issues. And this is a paper way back in is August 2025 identifying these features. And you might be thinking, sure, but what about India? And you're going to be finding it's going to be interesting where you see how this connects to what's happening in India. One more point. Ethical issues of AI did not arise with generative AI. They existed well before Chat GPT. Look at just, we won't get into the articles, but look at the dates. October 3, 2017. Bias is the real danger. 2017 October. And we're talking about 8 years back. LinkedIn's this thing is biased. You know, hiring. Then some issues with bias in the courtroom. Interestingly enough, if we are moving to ethics and action from ethics, one would think that Chat GPT came in, there's so much discussion happening. It came out in November 2022. There's just so much discussion, no one knows what to do, how to do it. And you would feel a certain level of frustration following AI. Globally, if you contextualize this, the desire to practically do something arose in the end of 2019. Context. Things are more uniform than we realize. Implementation can be impacted by culture, by context, by where you are. But when we are thinking of ethics and its features, it's more common than you realize. So if there's anything that if there's one key takeaway, we're only halfway through what we have to do right now, or more than halfway through. But if there's one thing that you can walk away from today's sort of discussion, is ethics is not abstract. Of course, the ethics discourse has increased 9 times after ChatGPT came out. And of course, throughout these slides, you have these QR codes which you can scan, and you can sort of access your material. Now, the question is, what can we do? We saw a paper published in 2025 August. We saw some headlines from 2017. We saw something in 2020. When did action really start? And action started in India also quite early. First of all, the OECD principles. And let's keep it simple. They came up in May 2019. India is not a signatory to this. But at the same time, look at the framing. Well, let's not look at this one. Let's do the next slide. Let's look at the principle of accountability. And again, see for yourself how ethical principles have been broken down into specific features. AI actors should be based on their roles, based on their roles, context, ability to act, apply a systematic risk management approach to each phase of the AI system lifecycle on an ongoing basis and adopt reasonable business conduct. Big words, we will understand this when we come to governance. But the main thing that you must understand from this is actors have different roles. We are talking about a risk management approach. There are different phases of a life cycle, and we are doing this on an ongoing basis. And see the last sentence here. Risks include related to harmful bias, again the same term, safety, security, privacy, labor, and IP rights. That was the framing of ethics and features. So, well, it happened internationally. So, why is this important? How does this matter? You would be surprised to know India has been leading the charge in line with the broader framing. First of all, we came out with a national AI strategy way back in 2018. Healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities infrastructure, smart mobility and transportation identified as key sectors. The Indian Supreme Court in 2017 understands the importance of personal data and informational privacy, which we've identified as a key issue of a key issue of AI ethics. They understand the intersection of personal data and AI systems in the Puttaswamy decision, which is in 2017. Information, especially browsing history for user, is utilized. These are literally a couple of pages of informational privacy in the entire sort of judgment, 100 pages judgment. An email can be analyzed to deduce user interest and target suitable advertisements to a user on the side of a window. The first one, that every transaction of an individual user and every site that visits leaves electronic tracks. These electronic tracks contain powerful means of information which provide knowledge of the sort of the person that the user is and her interests. In aggregation, they disclose the nature of the personality, food habits, language, health, hobbies, sexual preferences, friendships, ways of dress, and political affiliation. That's the point. There is an understanding of the intersection between privacy to personal data, the starting point of AI, by the Supreme Court way back in 2017. And we just identified ethical issues of generative AI from a paper published in August 25. So, a paper that identifies privacy as an ethical issue of generative AI, it identifies privacy as an ethical issue of generative AI in August 2025. That same ethical issue, privacy, is being recognized by the Indian Supreme Court 8 years earlier. And it's just not the court. Let's move forward. We come to the principles of responsible AI. We have ethics. Now, see how ethical principles are translating into principles of responsible AI. This is in February 2021. And see the framing, safety and reliability. AI should be deployed reliably with sufficient safeguards to ensure safety of relevant stakeholders and risk minimized. Equality, inclusivity, and non discrimination. Privacy and security. Transparency. Designing and functioning of an AI system should be recorded and made available for external scrutiny and audit. Privacy, security that is used for training the system, DPDPA. Look at accountability. All stakeholders involved in design, development, and deployment of AI systems will be responsible for their actions. Stakeholders should conduct risk and impact assessments. Again, risk management approach, design, development, and deployment of an AI system, which means that we're talking about the AI lifecycle. Setting up an auditing process, the aspect and reference to audits, internal, external. Then creating mechanisms for grievance redressal in case of adverse impact. I would fit in, and I have, and that's my interpretation, that I fit in the principle of accountability, all current laws. Of course, data protection law can go to principles of privacy and security as well, but it'll also come under the principle of accountability. And if I look at current laws, then if we look at current laws, then we have data privacy, data protection laws, intellectual property laws, consumer protection laws, information technology laws. Everything comes in principle of accountability. But one question that I do want to ask now is that when you look at these principles, accountability, safety, reliability, equality, inclusivity, non-discrimination, privacy, security, transparency, again, just a yes or no. Do laws cover all these features? Anyone can respond. Do laws cover all these features? Do we have a law on safety? Do we have a law on reliability? Do we have a law on equality, inclusivity is covered? The short point being, even if laws may or may not cover, and I'm not getting into the fact whether we need laws on all these features. That's a completely different perspective. That's why there's a law plus approach. Laws don't cover, right? There are gaps. Helpful. Thank you. Does that mean so? This opens up two windows. One, there are certain expectations from AI where laws don't cover them completely. If laws don't cover them completely, it does not reduce the importance of that feature. For example, if I don't have a law on reliability, it doesn't mean that reliability is unimportant. I would want reliable AI systems. If there's no law defining what is transparency of an AI system, doesn't mean that transparency is unimportant. It also doesn't mean that I need laws for everything. Because right now we're still at a principle level. The point that we're trying to highlight here is that laws play a part in responsible AI. You have to go to the plus component, areas where laws are not there and which features are still important for you. You will do something. You will manage it somehow. You will manage your risk. Because at the end of the day, accountability is also talking about risk and impact assessments. And that takes us to the business piece of it, right? Sure, these are these principles. Ethics becomes principles, high level principles. India framed those principles in 2021. Does it matter? I mean, does it really matter? Why do we care about responsible AI? Why are we doing this session in the first place? Right? And that's where this one study that helps sort of comes in. Right? Because this study looked at a financial based app, pension based app in the financial space, and it looked at embedding three responsible AI features: understandability, auditability, ability to trace the decisions, and privacy. We looked at these three features, and the study concludes that by incorporating these three features of responsible AI in the product, the adoption of the tool went up 60%. Sure, one can challenge this study by saying the cultural context could be different. There, they would be concerned about privacy, or they would be concerned about auditability, or they would be concerned about understandability. In India, we can't say. Maybe we can't, but we need it, right? We may care a little bit about understandability, understanding how when each one of us here uses generative AI tool in our work, it makes we want to understand how it came with that citation. Where is the source? I mean, let's talk about understandability for a second. If we use generative AI tool for our research, for drafting, for writing, whatever way in personal use that we're doing it, do we not want to check the source? What if the AI tool is hallucinated? You would want to understand how the generative AI tool is giving you the information it does, right? And one of the best ways to do it is to cite a source in the output, which some tools do. So you're also looking at some form of understandability, correct? So that's the point. It makes a difference. And now we've gone from ethics to responsible AI, and, and responsible AI protects the bottom line. And now we come into the practice. Why is this definition on screen? Some context there. The developers playbook for responsible AI, the NASSCOM's developers playbook for responsible AI that I co-authored last year, worked on it for 10 months, which is an AI governance framework, which we'll come to in a second, or come to in the course of this lecture, which is also aligned to the India AI mission, Safe and Trusted AI pillar, which has also now been cited in the AI governance guidelines that came out in November 2025 as one of the key, as one of the frameworks for voluntary responsible AI obligations and compliance in India. The point is that an international organization known as the International Association of Privacy Professionals, IAPP, which some of you may know, once the playbook was released in November 24, it made declared the playbook as a recommended resource. This international organization picked up the developers playbook for responsible AI and made it a recommended resource for their own ecosystem. And this is the definition of AI governance from their worldview. And the reason we find it on the screen is because there's an alignment between what was there in the playbook, alignment between how IAPP thought of governance, and this gives us a starting point of what AI governance means. And see how broad AI governance is when we're talking about implementing ethics and responsible AI. See the broad aspects. It's laws, policies, frameworks, practices, and processes. It's not just laws. It's policies, frameworks, practices, processes. It's operating at three levels: international, national, organizational. Which means, can I have a global AI governance framework? Can any AI governance framework be that harmonized that will address every organizational need? No. What we can have is broader principles and then a way of implementing those broader principles. Then, AI governance helps various stakeholders implement, manage, oversee, regulate across the lifecycle development, deployment, and use of AI technology. It helps in managing risks. Is it laws? No. AI governance is broader than laws. Laws are a part of AI governance. Example: if the AI output is violating someone's legal rights, maybe law comes in. If we want to protect the intellectual property of the AI system, sure, law comes in. If the law is complying with sources complying with privacy regulations, sure, law comes in. But testing for bias, that's technical. How is the model performing? Evaluation metrics, technical. Who decides which data is included in the training data set? Machine learning data scientist roles, or goes back to our example when we spoke about us being Nobel laureates in building for Africa, right? It is law plus. And there are some laws that cover, right, which we've already covered: intellectual property laws, consumer protection laws, deepfakes, data protection laws. Then we have current laws. Example, like we filed, so as part of the firm, we filed the first AI personality rights case of Anil Kapoor in 2023, September 23. I drafted the AI component of the plaint. Then I worked on Nagarjuna. Then we acted for Aishwarya Rai, Abhishek Bachchan, and many actors have gone. Karan Johar, Hrithik Roshan, Arijit Singh, Asha Bhosle. This is an example of how current laws are addressing AI harm, how current laws are managing AI harm, right? Because of the fact that it's covered you're utilizing and leveraging current frameworks to take care of harm caused by AI systems. So the point being here that certain current laws may apply to resolve these issues. Then what's the plus? What is happening in India? If laws don't cover everything, how do I talk about areas where the law doesn't cover anything? We have voluntary frameworks. We have Telecommunication Engineering Center for evaluating fairness of AI systems. We have the ICMR guidelines. We have NASSCOM, even before we did the playbook last year. In June 2023, they came up with guidelines for generative AI. One of the first guidelines to contextualize responsible AI principles of generative AI. They established joint obligations for researchers, developers, and users of generative AI systems. Sure, these are voluntary. Sure, they lack enforcement value. But do they not help you? They might, right? If I'm working in this space, if I'm looking to mitigate my risk, I may use it. And here's a little bit more. If you would like to get into deeper into IFED is this body that advances AI in the global south and hosts its events at the United Nations. Then there's these couple of chapters that gives you this entire perspective, puts it in one place to sort of advance the work and try to tell you which laws apply, which don't. But with all of this, we come back and we're now coming to the final lap, about 30 minutes left. We've moved from ethics to responsible AI to some limitations of laws. The major issue is what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? And that is what led us to what is the developer's playbook. What was that about? Right? It was more about formulating a responsible AI checklist, self-evaluating AI use cases on various aspects of RAI. Again, same features. Focus on startups, non-legal language as its audience is technical. Perspective of AI developer. Not make an exhaustive set of restrictions. Actionable steps must be there. So see how it is becoming critically important, even though there may not be any laws. Where this lecture is about generative AI ethics, and we realize that generative AI ethics is the same as AI ethics generally. And we realize that ethics become features and they become features of responsible AI. And we're now moving to a scenario where we're realizing and we're seeing that it is actually the situation is where you are implementing. You need to implement and decide what to do and how to do it. That's the main point. That's where we are moving towards. If there are no laws, why am I moving towards practically implementing any feature of responsibility? Why is it important? It's important because as AI governance principle sort of told you, it's about managing associated risks to ensure AI aligns with stakeholder objectives, is developed and used responsibly and ethically, and complies with applicable legal and regulatory requirements. You want to mitigate risk. You want to manage risk. And this is why you would be looking at this aspect of trying to create actionable steps. That brings us to the developer's playbook. So we are still in November 2024. We have a year to go in terms of where the action is happening. You can, if you scan it, get it on your phone. I'm going to take you through the playbook now in very shortly. We're going to first finish the slides and come back to the playbook. What is the playbook doing? First of all, we'll come back to the playbook, but let's contextualize it. The Indian AI governance guidelines that came out in November early this year, they recognize the playbook as one of the voluntary frameworks that industry could look at. Adopted at an organizational level, there are guidelines on safe and responsible ethical AI use in the form of non-binding principles. The RBI Free AI Committee report speaks about it in the RBI context. Then we have Parak AI, which is looking at participatory algorithmic auditing. We're talking about audits. We'll come to the playbook. Let's hold on. Let's move to the next slide. Then, in addition to the playbook, let's perhaps go to the playbook. It might just be easier. Let me screen share the playbook first. Just 1 second. There we go. Here we have it. What is this document about? Let's go to the forward by Shri Abhishek Singh. The need for voluntary adherence to responsible AI principles is critical. This is a proactive commitment that not only prepares the industry for evolving regulation, but also positions India as a leader on the global stage for ethical and responsible AI development. The Developers Playbook for Responsible AI in India is a step in this direction. Created by NASCOM with support from Anand Anand, this playbook highlights an approach to building a robust, ethical, and inclusive AI landscape. My question is, let's forget the word for 2 minutes. Why are we doing this? Because even if there may be no laws, it is important to be ethical, it's important to mitigate your risk, it's important to carry out responsible AI in practice. It has to be done if you're looking to mitigate risk. It serves as a guide for developers and developers in any technical organization, for developers and businesses to navigate the complexities of responsible AI development. The playbook equips innovators with the guidance they need to identify potential risks, align with best practices, adopt responsible AI methodologies, while allowing for evolving approaches towards AI development and deployment. Aligned with the India AI mission's safe and trusted AI pillar, the playbook seeks to harmonize public and private sector risk management frameworks, offering a path that integrates ethics into the fabric of AI development. This is a practical guidance, and we have to see how it is operating practically. Let's go forward. What is the playbook about? The playbook is designed to provide a voluntary framework for developers to systematically identify and mitigate the potential risks associated with the commercial development, deployment, and use of AI in India. Development, one actor; deployment, separate actor; use, perhaps all of us as end users. The risk mitigation guides provided in the playbook contain consolidated AI risk libraries with corresponding sets of risk mitigation prompts based on our, when we kind of looked at everything under the sun in India, based on our evaluation and existing public and private AI risk management frameworks and hard and soft regulation most relevant and applicable to the commercial implementation of AI in India. The references section appended to this playbook provides a list of regulatory and non-regulatory sources that inform the formulation of risk mitigation guides. Have a look at the preface, it will tell you lots of things. We have adopted an inclusive definition of developers. I'm not reading every line here, but the point is that we're talking about developers playbook. We're talking about any technical person in an organization, whether that organization is a developer, deployer, end user, right? None, yes. The risk mitigation guides in the playbook are designed to be sector and use case agnostic and do not prescribe exhaustive guidance on risk mitigation during the development and deployment of any specific type of AI model or application. Therefore, none of the risk mitigation prompts in the playbook should be interpreted by developers in an absolute or rigid manner. Developers are advised to refer to the relevant risk mitigation guide and the use of risk mitigation prompts within as guidance to implement RAI practices. So you're not doing it in a rigid manner. Finally, how does the playbook operate? There are some definitions. This is the way you navigate it. The only reason we're going through this, only reason is to demonstrate that ethics plays out practically. It's not something that is abstract. We have three different types of AI models here: a discriminative AI model, a generative AI model, and AI application. Discriminative AI model, what we discussed earlier, pattern recognition tool. Generative AI model, generative AI, what we're discussing. AI application, which is building on top of discriminative AI model, building on top of generative AI model. Then we conceptualize an AI life cycle. So we're looking at a discriminative AI model operating across the stage of conception, collection and processing and usage of data, design, development and testing, deployment, monitoring and maintenance. And then we're looking at a generative AI model operating across these four life cycles, perspectives. Then AI application operating across these four life cycle stages. Let's take an example. Let's go to bias. Let's look at bias. What is this? This is stage one, conception, distributive AI model. Define and document intended purpose or use of model you're conceiving for development and ensure the model is fit for intended purpose or use, and see the sub bullet. Identify and describe stakeholders who are intended to deploy in the model and those who are likely to be directly impacted by its functioning. Describe the geographic area where the model is intended to be deployed and take measures as responsive to geographical considerations of language, culture, laws, and regulations. Why is this guidance there? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Why is this guidance there? Why would you do it? Because we have to implement responsible AI in practice. By describing the geographic area where the model is looking to be deployed at the stage of conceiving the AI model, going back to our example, if we, as all 100 of us on this call, would have wanted us to go to Africa, we should, and we had described that the geographic area of the model would be Africa, we would have chosen the data differently. We would have brought in different people in the team. This is how ethics plays out. By describing the geographic area of the model or by describing the intended stakeholders, you're taking care of bias. Let's go a little further. You're describing the data requirements. We're not talking about personal data. We're not even talking about copyright protected data. We're just talking about data, which includes privacy and copyrighted data. And ensure the required data is available in desired quality, quantity, and format. This goes back to the slide where we spoke about what do humans do when they remain involved. They select the data set, they curate the data set. And when you collect the data, is everything perfect? Well, that a machine learning engineer has to answer that. They spend hours trying to get the desired, forget quantity for a second. They have to look at quality, they have to look at format. Data quality is a major thing. Data format is a huge thing. You have to figure out what you have to do. Can you train the model? And if they're taking out any data sets, how do you identify the risks? Let's go to a law that some of us understand. But no, actually, let's go a step back. When we talk about, so we've understood so far that laws don't cover everything in AI. Some laws cover, laws are very good with AI, with certain aspects of AI, but not all laws are covering AI. That's clear to us, right? Now, we may assume that data protection law is the law that covers everything in AI. As you can see from the stages, collection and processing and usage of data is only one of the four stages. So if data privacy is happening and if data privacy is your golden shot or your one comprehensive way of operating in AI, it is extremely important to understand that data protection law only covers a part of the life cycle, which is that collection and processing and usage of data. And there's an entire data lifecycle standard that is there published by ISO. Define and document, describe stakeholders, geographic area. Let's come into data. So you have consult appropriate experts whether it qualifies publicly available, verify the document and source of data, whether it qualifies legitimate use. I mean, it gets this document just gets into more detail and detail. I'm not going into all of it, but let's take one example. Let's assume that you got yes, we know that we can withdraw consent under the data protection law, right? We can withdraw consent. What if personal data has been collected, it's been sent to an AI model, a request comes for withdrawal of consent, and it is not technically feasible to do so. Hence, the playbook contains, if it is technically infeasible to do so, register your constraints for internal risk assessment or external audits. If you remember the principle of transparency that we just covered, principle of transparency, responsible AI, it talks about recording the audit system and design. Therefore, we're talking about a situation where we are looking at carrying out risk mitigation steps across, including data protection. So the point is that, sorry, yeah. So we're going to now wrap up with audit. So then we go into different aspects, right? So we have uh, design, development, and testing. Then we have monitoring. So not to the point of showing you the playbook was simply to tell you how it is playing out in practice. How, despite the existence of laws or laws not covering everything, which is fine, you need to balance innovation and give them freedom to operate. Laws may not necessarily cover everything. You need consensus for laws to cover everything. The playbook demonstrates an example of a way of doing it. But is that the only way? No. There are million of other ways of achieving responsible AI. We can look at that. But let's come back to the governance guidelines for a second, right? Because the governance guidelines just didn't just speak about the playbook. They highlight even other aspects that are important. You have the concept of audits there. You have the concept of standards there, right? So what's the next step? We've covered this. Or next step, independent and forget the playbook. What is the look on the right side? What is the guidance on accountability? It's talking about develop accountability mechanisms that would support voluntary compliance to mitigate harm. For example, self certifications, peer monitoring, and third party audits. There is already there is a participatory algorithmic auditing thing that has been given to Parak. There is an organization, I've been with them 4.5 years, that is working on process audit schemes. Audits are two types. You can audit an AI and a product for a particular feature like bias, fairness, cybersecurity. Or you can do a process audit, wherein you audit, you create systems of governance from the design of the system to the beginning conception stage that you saw in the playbook till its very end. And you can create that. That is an audit scheme. And we've been working on that, right? And I'm going to share that link in a second to give, or you can see it from here, right? Then, of course, we also have, other than that, from audits, we have ISO standards and IS standards by the Fed by TEC. And then you have ISO 42001 as a standard. So you see that when we talk about ethics and its practical implementation, we're talking about features that we want in a product. How do we implement those features? Law operate on some features. Then we have audits. We have standards. We have a voluntary frameworks like the playbook. So the way of managing this is particularly wide and varied. I can see a question which I will look at and respond. I will now share two sort of articles in the chat just so that it's clear to sort of everyone, which sort of looks at the law plus approach that I've spoken about and contextualizes it in the context of uh, global south. I'm also going to share for you to think about audits, right? Because when you look at audits, when you think about audits, there's already work that's happening on process audit schemes. And therefore, that can give you a good perspective of how to do this practically. The entire focus of this discussion and lecture today is for you to not think that AI ethics is something abstract that is in some ivory tower that's not happening. It's a question of which feature do you want in your AI system and what is the practical step that you're taking to implement it, right? And with that, we have 10 minutes. I can see a question. So I'm gonna, right. So it's a good question, Mr. Subro. This goes back to where we started, right? Are we there at artificial general intelligence? A movie, Terminator, or a movie like Robot, those are movies. Is AI taking some tasks that human do? Yes. Do human beings need to learn how to operate with generative AI? Yes. Do human beings know and need to operate and manage with and reshaping of work with generative AI? Yes. Is the human race being made extinct because of AI? I can't say so. It's a question of how what AI would do. AGI is far away. If we reach AGI, we'll see. But the point is, I mean, we have to think about this notion of AI systems. I can't say whether will happen or not happen. I can't predict. What I can tell you is that today, AI is task specific or AI is generating content or is generating artifacts. It's generative AI. It is taking over some tasks. But whether AI today is at the level that you see in movies, no. Is AI at the level of artificial general intelligence? No. Can AI reach there? Possibly, but we'll have to see there. The goal of ethics is we have to know what AI is today. We have to know, or forget ethics, we have to talk about responsible AI. Every conception of ethics mapped onto the principle of responsible AI framed by India. So we have to understand that it operates in such a manner. So the point is that we have to, whenever we step back, or whenever you walk away from this sort of perspective, it's important for you to remember that ethics is not abstract. First of all, there's the concept of ethical choice, which we discussed about us building something for Africa. Then there's the expectation from society. Then the expectation from society broke down into those multiple features. Those features are more common than we realize: privacy, transparency, accountability, safety, security. Then it's about the action and how do they play out in practice. And for that, we covered the playbook in great detail. Then we have some laws. We have intellectual property laws. We have data protection laws. So we have to think who we are, where in the ecosystem, which actor is it, What are they doing? How are they doing it? And how important is it to regulate AI? Not regulate AI, how is it important to mitigate risks in AI and regulate or manage the risks of AI or generative AI? And as end users, you should be aware that it hallucinates and you need sources. You need to know whether you can actually rely on it or not. Like the fact that you've already done a course on prompt engineering, a class on prompt engineering is excellent because you know now how a prompt may have to be entered. It's important to have this macro perspective when we're thinking of ethics. And I think that's where I think I'd like to sort of conclude. If you have, of course, these presentations will be shared. The playbook is accessible, but we can happily share that as well. Uh, I'll actually share the link of the playbook in any case and of the governance guidelines in any case. I've shared a couple of goods, but we'll leave it if anyone wants to ask questions. Here's the link for the playbook.
You can also WhatsApp me the links to your to the playbook as well as your slides. I'll share it in the group. I'll do
Okay,
that.
great, great,
I mean,
great.
you can share it here as well, but also share it with me so that in case
Perfect.
somebody, it'll be there in their phones.
Sure, sure. I'll send across all these links. I'll send across
Yeah.
on WhatsApp, right? So that will be done. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I think any questions people may have asked. Yeah. Yes, of course, there's not to be said. You're more than welcome to reach out and speak and discuss. But if we have to conclude or we have to give some concluding thoughts to this class, it's to tell you that think of the larger picture of ethics, think of how ethics translate to responsible AI principles, see which features of AI matter, see in which sector they matter, and how do you practically implement it. The world is now moving towards action that is apparent. Conversation of what we want from AI is happening, but what is more important is converting that into action. India is ahead in that space. We may not have an AI Act, but we have enough voluntary frameworks. BIS, ISO standards are there, playbooks are there, guidances are there. So, if for anyone looking to engage in responsible AI, there is a significant number of guidance in place. And when we're talking about as end users, it becomes critical for us to understand how generative AI operates and how we would want to engage and rely on generative AI. And we must keep this parallel narrative about AI taking over humans on the side. Technologists have to first agree whether we are reaching AGI, and engineers don't believe so. Keep movies out of the scene. I think, Kamna, at that point, I think I'm just going to stop now and hand it back to you.
Thank you so much, Weber, for that session and for enlightening us on this very important topic, which is even more important because of the way it's really evolving, the way the technology is evolving and taking over all aspects of our life. So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to have you and to learn from you. So please do share all these links and your presentation. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of thank yous coming your way from the faculty. So thank you so much for that. Thank you.
No, no, that's very kind, and thanks so much, Kamla. It's been a pleasure, and I think it's. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job because this is critical for us to create this awareness, and I think
Absolutely.
and I think
Absolutely.
it's an honor and pleasure to be here. So, and I look forward to continuing engaging. So it'll be wonderful. Looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye bye.
Right, faculty members, I hope that was a great session and I hope you picked up a lot of basically raised your awareness about responsible use of AI and ethics in AI. And we are now waiting for our next trainer to join us. There is still 1 more minute, so I think Shikha will be joining us, and she'll be talking about tools for online training, online learning, and that's going to be another exciting session. Yeah, she's here. Welcome, Shikha. So nice to have you again back with us for a very insightful session on tools for online learning.
Yeah, hi Kamna. Thank you for having
Hello.
me again.
Yeah, just to introduce you to all the faculty members, we have about 160 members who registered for this, and today we have about 100 members who are joined us for this session on tools for online learning. And once you finish your session, please share your deck with me, which I can share with the participants. And to introduce Shikha, Shikha is the founder of an AI startup, AI Jamic. And before this, she has experience of working in American Express, and her passion lies in AI, development of AI software. So Aditya is also here. Aditya, your session is tomorrow.
Okay, okay. No worries, no worries. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So with that, I'll hand it over to Shikha to take you through the session. Over to you, Shikha.
Yeah. Thanks, Kamna. So let me share my screen.
Yeah.
So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So hello everyone. So the topic that I will be presenting today is how to use AI tools for online learning. So this learning could be anything. Let's say you want to upskill yourself, you want to learn new skills. Those skills can be both soft skill or technical skills. So I'll take you through different tools which are available out there and how you can leverage them on a day-to-day basis to increase your productivity and skill set. With that, let's quickly look at the agenda. So this smart study system design is what I'll take you through today, that how you can create a step-by-step approach using AI tools for learning, content design, assessment, and analysis phase. After that, I'll take you through what are some ethical consideration you should be aware of while using these AI tools. So this will be a topic that I'll cover towards the end. But now let's focus on how to build a smart study system design using AI tools available out there. So before I begin, I want to do a quick check, and I will be asking this some questions in between also, and this is the first question. So I would like all of you to respond in chat. The question I have for you is, do you understand what is hallucination with respect to AI? Or let's say not with respect to AI, you are not like aware of it, what you think hallucinations means. So can you drop your responses in chat? Let me see. Illusion. Anyone else? Wrong, misleading information. Hmm. Yeah. So basically, let me tell you what hallucination means and why all of you should be aware of this concept even before you start using these AI tools and AI models for any of the activity, and it becomes very important to understand hallucination concept when you are using it for learning and education. So hallucination means AI representing or coming up with a fact which looks grammatically or semantically correct. It might put a date in a response saying this activity happened on, let's say, so XYZ date, which looking at sounds legitimate, but when you go back, do a proofreading, you do a research, you actually find out that no, that fact which is given to us by this AI model is incorrect. So this is the hallucination, making a fact, coming up with the like numbers which looks correct but is actually not the case. So this is what you should all be aware of, that though AI is very intelligent, smart, it is not 100% accurate. There can be some instances, though they are very minor, it can also make mistakes. So hence, whenever you are using these tools for any of the learning, education related activities, always make sure you remember this fact and do a proofreading and check before you consume that information. With this, now let's start with how we will be creating this smart study system using AI tool as a 4-step process. So the first step here will be learning phase. So as I told you that we'll go through different AI tools which we will use as our thought partner for upskilling ourselves and learning new skills. Let's say I'm pretty good in technical skills, but I want to work on my soft skill or communication skill. So what are the online tools are available out there? Or let's say I'm really good in the communication skills, but my technical part is lagging. So what tools I can use to upskill myself on them? Once we uh, will complete the learning phase, we will move to the second phase, which is content design and delivery phase. And here I'll take you through what are the different AI tools available that can be used for content design, interactive media content creation, to build really nice presentation, curating the content that you might want to present to your student in a as part of a course or a lecture that you are planning to have. After that, the third phase is your assessment phase. So let's say whatever you learn during learning phase, and in the second phase, let's say you deliver some content to your student. Now the next step is to assess the learnings. Are we able to grasp all the concept that we have learned or not? For that, we will take help of different AI tools available for item creation and auto grading. After that, the final phase will be analytics phase, where we'll see how we can convert the discussion which happens in learning management systems to generate summaries, insights. Also, let's say whatever assessments you have done, how you can analyze those assessments and generate the insights out of it that can help you in creating personalized learning programs for different student or even for yourself also. So let's say you learned a new technique, you assess yourself, you could do good in 4 parts where one was lacking. So for that one lacking part, you can take help of these AI tools to come up with personalized learning plan. So this is the 4-step process which I'll take you through step by step. But before that, again, a quick question for all of you, a quick check. Do you know what is Bloom's 2 sigma problem? Can you all drop your response in chat? So the question is, what is Bloom's 2 sigma problem? So this is the question. anyone wants to attempt? Okay, no issue. So let me take you through what does Bloom's 2 sigma problem means, and this is very closer to your learning philosophy. So let me take you through this content. So let me zoom in a bit. So as you see, in 1984, researcher Benjamin, an educator, Bloom had conducted an experiment which showed that one-on-one tutoring is roughly 2 standard deviations more effective than traditional classroom instruction, which means that providing one-on-one dedicated tutoring to a student can help you achieve result which is close to 98% more than the traditional classroom instruction. And using this philosophy, what we are seeing in this agentic AI space, that a lot of personalized online learning resources are coming up for us to learn different topics. So this is a really nice study, and it actually shows the effectiveness of creating personalized plans for students to learn. Not just student, for us also, if you want to learn a new concept, want to learn a new research. So this one-to-one tutoring which is now made available to us by these online platform is can be proved very helpful. So with this idea in mind, the research that I just showed you, now let's start with our step-by-step study plan. Yeah. So the first step or the first phase that we are going to cover today is learning phase, which means how to use AI tools as your thought partner, also your as your one-on-one personalized coach, so that you can learn the topics more effectively and apply it on your day-to-day task. I'll take you through all sorts of tools, technical, research-based, and communication-focused tool. So first, I'll start with tech-based AI tools which are available. So first, I'll start with Google Colab, which is very popular one for learning Python, creating applications using Python, doing data analysis, working on machine learning models, creating artificial intelligence based application. So the first tool that I'll take you through today is Google Colab. Has any one of you tried Google Colab before? Yeah, so now I'm getting a lot of responses. Yes. Yeah, that's great. So Google Colab is very effective tool for anyone who, let's say, wants to learn coding from scratch. Yeah, so I got a lot of yes. That's great. So this is how your collab.research.google.com's landing page looks like. Here, what you can do, you can click on first new notebook. So let it create a new notebook for you. And here you can see you have 2 screens available in front of you. This first screen that you see here is the coding screen where you can write your codes. But what Google has done, it has integrated Gemini also. So here you see this, if you toggle here, it closes. If you toggle it again, it opens the Gemini window. So this is like working with Gemini as your AI pair programmer. So let's say you're just someone who's just starting out, or let's say you know the Python, but now you want to move to AI application building, want to learn about machine learning, data analysis concept. So you can just take quickly help of uh, Gemini here. So let's do that. Help me build data analysis pipeline. So you just need to provide your requirements in a plain English language, and it will start working behind the scene and will come up with what are the different steps that are needed to be taken to build a data analysis pipeline. So let's say you are someone new and wants to learn that step by step. So here you can see it has created a step by step plan on how to build that pipeline. As you can see, it starts with loading the data. So load your data set into a pandas data frame, explore and clean data, so which is a very important part of data analysis. It means here perform initial data exploration to understand its structure, identify missing values, doing outlier treatment, identifying the data type. After doing data analysis, which involves your statistical analysis, aggregation, feature engineering, then comes your visualization result, like generating relevant plots, charts to do the visualization. And final task is to summarize the key insights and conclusion. So this is for someone who's just starting, or even if you already know, it's always good idea to see what are the formal steps needed to be taken for building a data analysis pipeline. After that, if you see, it provides options also. Do you want to create the code using these steps? So you can click on accept and auto run. So automatically it will generate the code here in the coding screen and will start running it. There is a next option which says run step by step, and that actually means instead of accepting and auto running it, it will start to execute these steps one by one. And the third is cancel. You just, let's say, wanted to study about it, you don't want to do that. So let's say we do this manually and say help me with the load data functionality. So let's say basis on the 5-step plan which you have just seen, you start with this. So you see it says what from where you want to load the data, CSV, Excel, JSON. So you can, let's say if you have a CSV with you, you can ask it to read it from there. Or let's say you say just maybe generate some synthetic data. So it can do that also for you. So let's say write a code to read from CSV data. So in this way you get an idea like from what are the different sources you can read the data from. So you see these are the steps, then you can just click on run step by step. and it will start preparing, load CSV, and display data info for you. So this is how you can leverage the Collab notebooks Gemini integration. You can, let's say, don't want, you can generate here with again AI only, and in the empty cell which you specify, the code will start getting populated. So you see it has started generating the code here in the coding screen, load CSV file, and it has put in the right commentary also for you to understand like what's the process which is happening here. So you see you're reading a file and printing the first 5 rows. So in this way, you can take help of Gemini, use it as your AI pair programmer to learn any application or any new AI ML pipeline that you want to build yourself. So this was the first tool which I wanted to take you through. Now let's look at the second tool. So how many of you have used GitHub Copilot? So the second tool that I'll take you through now is this GitHub Copilot. So have any of you used GitHub Copilot? You can drop your responses in chat, yes, no. So I'm getting mixed responses. Some have used GitHub, but not GitHub Copilot. So not an issue. Let me show you how you can increase your understanding of repositories, or let's say any research paper which was published, and these research paper along with the paper sometimes also release their codes which are some very complex to understand. So how you can take help of GitHub Copilot to understand those codes. So let's go to GitHub Copilot. And you can see in the GitHub Copilot's name itself, it is written as it is your AI pair programmer, which works alongside you directly in your editor, suggesting whole lines or entire functions for you. So let's go here. So once you go to GitHub Copilot, click here, try Copilot now. And the great thing about GitHub Copilot is, unlike Google Colab, which is very specialized tool for Python, that actually is not the case with GitHub Copilot. It can work with all sorts of programming language. You can ask it to generate code, analyze repositories. Now, for example, let's say you are someone who wants to understand some machine learning libraries. For example, there's very popular library called LangChain for building generative AI and agentic AI applications. And it's an open source repo. And now let's say you want to understand some components of LangChain. So let's see how you can do that. So what GitHub Copilot does is it lets you provide anything. Let's say you can provide link to a GitHub repository. So you can see the way I have provided here. And then it lets you do a question and answering on top of these uploaded repositories. And if you see here, this drop down, it has support of these models. So behind the scene, these are the models running to analyze the data repositories or the code repositories that you have provided here. So you can select which one you want to use. So GPT-5 mini is very fast and cost effective. So it has pre-selected this one. And then you can ask questions around what, let's say you just want to understand what is the use of this repo help me build a simple app using it. And not just these open source repos. Let's say you have repos from some of your colleagues who are working on GitHub repos. You want to understand their code. So you can just provide location of the code and do a Q&A on top of it. So you see a high level summary is now getting generated. So this is what this repo is for. So you see LangChain AI or LangChain is a framework to build applications powered by large language models. It provides connection to LLM wrappers. It has a prompt template, chains, memory, how to maintain conversational states. Agents, tool, and reasoning are the functionality provided by LangChain. So you see, in short, LangChain makes it easier to connect an LLM to prompt. So provided a very nice description of all the functionalities which are available as part of LangChain. Now, in the requirement, I had also asked that help me build a simple app using it. So you see, it has started creating this small code repository along with readme file, so which you can refer from here. So this is the entire code file that it has generated for you, like how to call or connect with OpenAI models, how to create the conversation chains, how to maintain the memory. So you see, it has created a really nice, simple, small application which you can try out basis on the LangChain repository. So these are two very popular tools available out there to work on coding tasks, to work on tasks related to AI ML applications. So Collab Notebook and GitHub Copilot. So they are very two handy resources which you can try out if you want to upskill yourself on technical skills. You are someone who already knows Python but now want to work on AI application design. So these are the tools that you can try out. So now let's go back. Close this. Yeah. Now let's look at next two tools that I'll take you through. The next two tools, Elicit and Science Navigator, they are specifically for doing research from research publication, articles which are there. You want to go through them in a summary, want to do a Q&A on it, increase your awareness on the different research topics which are being published. So these are two specialized tools for doing that. Now I'll give you a quick demo of these two tools. So let's go to elicit.com. Have you guys used Elicit or Science Navigator or any other tool for doing scientific research? So I have a question. In what extent we can use this tool? So Google Colab is free. This I have never paid anything for accessing Google Colab. Even the Gemini integration is free. GitHub Copilot, there is some limitation with that. So feel free to use Google Colab, no issue with that. But I remember there is some limitation with GitHub Copilot. So there are some searches which are free, but after that you need to wait for I think around a month and then it gets reset. So you can check the pricing. So you see there are 3 tiers. First is free. So here some requests are free. Then there is a there's a 4 USD dollar plan. Then there's a 21 USD dollar plan. But some sort of trial based plan is also there. But let's say you want to use it fully for freely, you can do that, but there's certain limits on number of requests or queries that you can make in a month. So you can go through the pricing page and check that out. But with Collab, I don't think there is any such issue. So now let me take you through elicit.com, which is a specialized tool for doing research, analyzing the research papers. So you see the name itself is how to use AI for scientific research. Use AI to search, summarize, extract data, and chat with over 125 million papers. So you can see the kind of repository of papers that they have available with them. Let me sign in. So this is the landing page of elicit.com. So here you get different options like find papers, let's say ask a question, research question to search. Let's say you want to search on a topic, for example, AI in education. So this is, let's say, the research that you want to conduct on how AI is affecting the education, or let's say how AI is being used in online learning. Then here itself you will see 3 options to refine your query or prompt. So here you see more precise questions work better. So it gives you 3 options which can improve it or improve your query in terms of specificity, intervention focus, or comparative approach. So let's say to what extent does AI assisted tutoring compare with traditional classroom instruction in improving learning outcomes for students. So it actually gives you 3 more options that you can try out and do your research on. So let's say you click on this comparative approach and then you hit enter here. So what it will do is it will start doing the research on the 125 million research paper corpus that it has available with it. So you see here, it has given you a ranked order list of 10 papers. So let me show you. So these are the top 10 papers for the query that you had given. The first is improving student learning with hybrid human AI tutoring. AI tutoring outperforms in-class active learning. And along with every paper, it has generated a AI space summary using AI tools. It has created this summary. So let's say you want to just quickly see what this paper is all about. So you don't have to go through this entire paper. You can quickly see the summary and decide whether you want to read this paper entirely or not. So here you can see with every paper that you see, there is a AI summary being generated, and it also you can see points that from which part of the paper that summary parts has been taken. So you see AI assisted tutoring shows positive effects on students' proficiency and usage, uh, particularly benefiting lower achieving students in a three-study quasi-experiment. So all of this information has been taken from this particular paper, and from which section it has been taken, that information is also being quoted. So in this way, you can see all the resources in the paper are summarized also. If and then in this third screen, this third frame that you see, it has given the appropriate section also from where it has taken it, and it has put in this explanation section also to give a better detailing on the analysis which it has done. So you can see in a single window you can go through multiple research paper, go through the summary, analyze it, and then decide what is the next step that you want to do based on all the analysis that you have done here. So this is one of the functionality. There is one more that I wanted to take you through. Yeah. So there is this workflow option also, where if you see, you have the research report option. And here also you can see some are free features like finding paper, doing paper chat. So if you click here, paper chat, what you can do, you can upload papers, multiple papers, and do a Q&A on top of it. Ask questions, ask specific topic that you might be struggling in that particular paper. So the paper chat lets you do that. I'm pretty sure you might have used chat GPT also. You upload a specific document and do a Q&A on top of it. So something similar sort of a feature is provided here in Elicit also. So here you will be able to select resources, upload it, and do Q&A. So these two functionalities are available for free. Extract data is something which is a pro feature. So this I'll tell you later what are the things available in pro, but I'll specifically take you through the free features here. So in the workflow, you can see research report is an option. So here, ask a research question to generate a structured research report. So let's say you want to work on a research report on a topic that you have in mind. So with this option, you can do that. It has given few options to start with. Let's say you are not sure how this works. From this, you can pick any of the topic like magnesium effect on sleep, online versus in-person CBT. So let's say you click on this second option and then you hit run. So what it will do, it will start going through the different research papers available there, different material which is there, and will do a quick analysis, which will run in a step-by-step manner to create a research report that you can go through. So you see, this is the right-hand side, which you see here, was the workflow which was running behind the scene to generate this report, this research report. And if you look at the workflow, first it gathered sources. 499 sources were found related to the research topic that you entered. After that, it did a screening on more relevancy out of these 500, which are the most like closer to your query. So here 4 sources included. If you want to look at the details of that, you can click on details and it will give you more information around it, that what were those 14 sources that it included. So you see, so much transparency has been provided by Elicit. Whatever information you are getting, you can always go back and check the resources that it has used. So the transparency becomes very important when working on these AI learning tools which Elicit is actually offering you. So let's go back. So from here you can return to report. And yeah, you see from this 14 source set, it extracted 98 data points and then it generated this final report. So this is the final report that you have got. So this is how you can work on different research ideas, take help of it, understand what's already available out there and what enhancements you should do on basis on your interest area and on basis on your own research appetite that you trying to build into this topic. So this was the first one. Now the second, what you see is Science Navigator. I'll quickly take you through this one also. So this actually is now called, it has been renamed to Borium AI. It is again AI for science with global scientists. Again, a very specialized tool for understanding and doing the academic search. So here also you can ask any specific question. You see, and all the information that it takes comes from reliable sources, so reliability is very important. So it uses Sciencepedia, Science Master, so these are the information sources it uses. It analyzes the impact of human, so these are some of the questions which you can try out. What is the role of data analysis in research? So we have been doing a lot of hands-on on that, so let's click on it and see what response we get. So let's click here. So let me log in. Let me log in first. Looks like it's stuck, but you can see this is very similar to Elicit that we were seeing. So you can try this tool also for doing your academic search. So now we have looked at these research and tech tools. So I see some questions are here. Is free AI tool available? Word limit is there. Yeah, so the ones that I showed you, the functionality wise, as you can see, some functionalities are available for free. Some comes with pro version. So in Elicit, as you can see, a research paper, creating research report, doing Q&A on chat, and so that is available for free. There are some pro features. If you want those, you need to upgrade it. So there's some costing associated with that. So not sure how much it costs. So yeah, upgrade. So for example, Elicit Pro comes with $12 a month. So only if you want to, use those features. But I think with free version also, you are getting a lot of functionalities. Let me check if there's any other question. Word limit, I have not checked it, but I've seen very nice lengthy reports getting generated. So not sure if there is any word limit. You might need to check that. Word limit is actually driven by primarily the model that you use. So I'm not sure if you are aware. Every LLM model that you use has a limit in terms of how much output it can generate at once. So let's me take help of ChatGPT and tell you. So this term is called context length, or let's say GPT-4o model. So basically all these specialized tools that I have been showing you, Behind the scene, they use these LLMs only, or GPT-4o, Google's Gemini model. So their output can be limited by the model which they are using behind the scene. So here you see GPT-4o has a context window of 128k tokens. Tokens you can think of as words only for the simplicity. They are slightly different, but let's think that token means words only. So here you can make this assumption if Elicit or any of the tool that you are using this model behind the scene. So this might be the limit on the output that will get generated. So no model, no LLM model can process infinite amount of information. Every model has a limit associated. GPT-4o has different, I think GPT-4o mini also has uh, so you can actually check with these AI tools, ChatGPT and Gemini, like what's the context length. So GPT-4o mini is also same. I think Gemini has 1 million, one of the Gemini model. Yeah, 1 million token. So Gemini 1.5 Pro has 1 million token or 1 million word that it can handle. And Gemini 2.0 Flash also has that capability. So it all depends on which LLM is being used behind the scene, and that actually increases the cost also. So always you can check which AI tool is using which software behind the scene. So now we have covered tech tools or research tool. Now before ending the learning phase, I'll take you through some very popular soft skill enhancing tools also. So Udly one such tool which is very popular for analysis of your voice, your facial expressions. So Udly.ai is the one. So see, it lets you record your presentation. Let's say you have an upcoming presentation. You can do a recording, upload it on Udly, and get it analyzed that how you did, what sort of improvement you should do. So here you see, it gives you strength, analysis, growth areas that you should work on. Talking about its usage, is it free or not? So 5 interactions with Udly is free. So let's say when you sign in for the first time, you can have 5 free interactions. After that, I think it becomes a paid. So if just initially you want to try it out, you can do that. You can actually take, if you don't want to pay, or you can take help of ChatGPT also. ChatGPT can also act as your voice assistant. So in the ChatGPT, you can upload .wav files. Maybe you do a recording of yours and ask ChatGPT that act as my voice coach for upcoming presentation. So this is how you can provide different persona to AI models like ChatGPT and ask it to analyze any recording that you have and do the identify the potential areas where you should work on what you are already doing good. But again, ChatGPT is not a specialized tool for that. Udly is a very customized tool made only to do that. You can practice presentation. Let's say you have an upcoming interview, that also you can prepare with this. You can upload your recording and ask it to do the analysis. So this is a specialized tool. ChatGPT can also work, but might not give you that good results which AI specialized AI tool like Udly might give to you. So you see, as I write this prompt, it says absolutely I can be your coach, voice coach. To help you best, I can do the following: analyze your recording for clarity, pace, tone, coach you on delivery, rewrite or polish your script, give you targeted vocal exercise. You can upload your audio or tell me what is it about. So in this way, you can say you can give a persona of a voice coach to ChatGPT also. So any question? So any site where I can download research papers for free. I think I'm not sure. Google Scholar, does it have that? Mostly it's available, I think, free. Sometimes only few papers are there for which you get only abstract, but that population I think is very less. So Google Scholar I primarily use for downloading the papers. But you can always do that research using AI tools. Yeah, if let's say you are not finding something, you can ask AI tools to give you more information on that. Okay, so let's get back to the slides now. So these are some top tools I wanted to take you through to work on your tech skills, your research skills, or let's say your communication aspects. I provided some hands-on activities here also, which you can try out, but primarily everything I have showed you live on the demos. Yeah, so these are all hands-on exercises for different tools. So now we have completed the first phase of learning phase where we use AI tools for upskilling. Now let's go to the second step, which is content design and delivery phase. So here we'll see how we can use tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity to design course content for any upcoming course that let's say you want to take. You want to deliver a short lecture on something. So how you can do quick research for the course content creation using the AI tools. So before doing the usage of AI tool, let's have a goal in mind which will set the idea that we want to execute. So here you see the goal, let's say that you want to accomplish is you want to create a complete 1 week module on a topic which you can implement immediately in your course. And in this 1 week module, these are all the things that you want to include. First point to include is 3 measurable outcome that uses Bloom's apply and analyze philosophy. In this, you need to have a 90-minute live session plan, and you want to have segments within this live session plan and what timing should be there. You want to have 2 async activities also that you want to perform within this 1 week module. Some OER readings video that should be verified open links so that when you share it with your students, they are able to access those and verify that information. Then you want a graded assessment also based on a rubric of 4 criteria across 4 levels. So these are some of the things you have in mind that you want to implement on a 1 week module for your course. Now I'll take you through tools like Perplexity for sourcing open educational resources or OER reading, and ChatGPT for generating template for sharing it with your students across different LMS. So I'll show you how you can use these 2 tools in combination to create this plan of a topic that you are going to be delivering. For those who are not aware with the Bloom's taxonomy, because if you see here in the goal, I had put this first inclusion, 3 measurable outcomes, Bloom's apply and analyze. So this actually comes again from the study done by Bloom. So here you see Bloom's taxonomy related information I have put in here as a information for you, which you can go through when after the session. Yeah. So before now I begin with the hands-on of the content creation design. A quick question I have for all of you. So I think a lot of we have been using Perplexity. So I have this question: is Perplexity a AI search engine or a large language model? So can you drop your responses in chat? What do you think? Is a AI search engine or a large language model? So drop your responses in chat. Yeah, I got a response both. Hmm. Anyone else wants to attempt? Let me again put the screen. Yeah, AI is Perplexity AI. Is Perplexity search engine or LLM? AI search engine. Chat GPT is a LLM. AI and LLM combined. Hmm. Okay. So I'll take you through Perplexity also, Chat GPT also, and you will get the answer when I take you through the hands-on. The reason I ask you this question is because I will be showcasing you both these resources, both these tools for developing the content. And you should know that why for this particular task I'm using Perplexity and why for this task I'm using Chat GPT. So these are the prompts I will now be pasting on Perplexity. So here you see this first box that you see I will use with Perplexity. These bottom 3 prompts, I'll paste it in ChatGPT for generating the entire course curriculum that I want to prepare. So first let's open Perplexity and I will paste this prompt. When I paste it in Perplexity, that will be readable. So don't worry if you can't read it now. So as I search Perplexity, the first thing that you will see is Perplexity is a free AI-powered answer engine that provides accurate, trusted, real-time answers to any question. So basically, it's a AI-powered answer engine. And let's see why it is not a LLM or a large language model. When you land to perplexity.ai, here you see there are different options. And the first option that you see is here is a choose a model. Not an issue. There are other like ChatGPT also lets you choose models like GPT 5.1, 5 Pro. But when you click here, choose a model, you will see variety of models provided by different vendors. So, for example, Claude is a model by Anthropic. GPT-5 is by OpenAI. Gemini is by Google. Grok is by X. So you see it supports all the models from all the vendors. Perplexity doesn't have any of its own LLM. It uses these models, these from other vendors like OpenAI, Google, X, and Anthropic to formulate the response. So basically, it's not a LLM itself. You can think of as an AI tool which is specialized in doing the search. So the way I showed you, let's say Udly, it is specialized tool for voice. Uh, so let me show you now Perplexity. So here you can see the prompt I have written. It says find 8 to 10 recent sources on topic. Now the topic is a placeholder that we can change. So let's say data pre-processing in data analysis. And let's see what all other components we have written in this prompt. So in Perplexity, we are saying that prefer NPTEL resources, scikit-learn document, university pages, textbooks, and OER. Return a table in as this format. Exclude personal blogs and unverifiable sites. So let's hit enter with this prompt. So you see behind the scenes, it is doing this source gathering. Let me sign in actually. Yeah, that's why it's not able to generate it. Let me sign in. Yeah, I have signed in now. So you see the question that I had given, and I had asked for a response in this format. And this is what I have got here. So the topic that I'm interested in this data pre-processing in data analysis. And the resources I had asked for NPTEL resources, scikit-learn documents. So it has provided me this structured table along with the links that I can go to and verify. So you see scikit-learn presentation. So, and the year when it was published. So all that information has been provided here, what I had asked. So you see, with using Perplexity, verifiability of content is easy. Now, as a content preparer, I can go to these resources and see which are the ones I should consider. It gives you all the clickable links. So you see IIT Kanpur NPTEL, this has been taken from that YouTube lecture. So in this way, all these are verified links. So whenever you are looking for some content whose authenticity matters a lot, so try to use Perplexity for that. So now that I have got the links available here with me, let's paste the second prompt. Yeah, this second prompt, because actually now I want to create the content from these links which I have got. So from So it says from the sources above, produce one page is what I have written. Let's make it 2 page. Teacher brief on topic. So the topic that we are interested in this data pre-processing in data analysis. The section that you want to have in this 2 page teacher brief is key ideas, common pitfalls related to data pre-processing, some do-don't checklist, 3 short example. And the constraint that we have put in is this. Every claim must have an inline citation. So every fact which is there in the material that we will get should be cited by author, year, and should be linked to the exact resource. So now let's hit enter with this requirement. So you see, this is the flow it is performing, summarizing the key concepts and generating the ideas. So you see it has created this 2-page teacher brief, common pitfalls, some of the do's and don'ts checklist. You can see it here. Some short examples, standardization, missing data imputation, one hot encoding. Now, what is the next step we can do? We can export this as a PDF, docx file, markdown file. Let's export it as PDF. And let's open it. Let's say if you want to make any edits in this, so you can export it as a docx file also. So now we have the content available with us that we can prepare for or share with the student. But let's put a structure around it, because there are still 3 prompts remaining that we will now paste in ChatGPT, because our objective is to have all of this in place. So now the next set of prompts I'll use in ChatGPT, because here we will use the perplexity content as a base for generation. So with GPT, sometimes hallucination can be an issue. So to avoid that, I generated the content using perplexity, but other formatting and other things we can do using ChatGPT itself. So for the next set of 3 prompts, I will use ChatGPT and create a new chat, because if you use the same chat, so the previous conversations that you might have done with it might affect the outcome. So always good idea to start with a fresh chat. So this is the first prompt, which is just to provide the persona to your AI model. So if you remember, for I had asked in one of the prompt to act as my voice coach. So it got that persona. Now here I'm starting with just giving a persona to this interaction I'm having with ChatGPT. So you see, this is your persona prompt only. So I won't be asking it to do anything here. Whatever you see here in the brackets is a thing that you can replace as per your understanding, as per your requirement. So I've given a role that you are a higher educational instructor, designer. Who's your audience? Again, these are the options that I have put in here. You can make changes in it. Your audience, what sort of bandwidth they are on, like if they are online, do they use low internet connectivity, high speed internet? So if you want to put, you can put or remove it. What LMS they use, any constraint output style. So this is just to give the persona to your interaction with ChatGPT. So let's hit enter. So it is just generating that, okay, these are the consideration it has taken. Now we'll start with the first prompt to start creating the outcome table that we are interested in. So now the topic or the prompt I have written, it says write a 4 measurable learning outcome for topic. So the topic again is data pre-processing. At Bloom's apply and analyze, map each learning outcome to a course outcome and suggest the evidence to measure it. And this is the format that we want the response to be in. So let's hit enter. So you see, it has, for the topic that I'm interested in, created a table. This is the learning outcome. It falls in the category of Bloom's apply level. And then it says how to assess this particular learning outcome. This assessment can be done by asking the student to submit a clean data set with a short justification log of chosen method. Then there is another learning outcome, let's say implement data transformation. Now, how to assess this? For this, the option can be get a Jupyter notebook script comparing before and after transformation with the explanation. So with this, you have got a 4 measurable high order apply analyze outcome. Now we have only one more prompt remaining, so that also we can try. This is your final session plan. Here, what we are doing, using the learning outcomes which we have here in this table. So we can see using these learning outcomes given above and the slide outline or the content that we generated using the perplexity. So here we can see topic outline. So this will be your final content that we had generated. Let's just copy paste it. You can upload it also. So what I have provided, the learning outcome table given above and the topic outline. What I'm asking is finally to create a 90-minute live plan split into 10 to 15 minute segments basis on activate, teach, practice, reflect plus 2 asynchronous activity with time estimates. An output table should be like this. Segment, minute, purpose, what to show, do, tool, etc. So now let's hit enter. So this is the final 90-minute plan for the live session that you have in mind with activities, how much minute or time you should take. It is linked to which of your outcomes. So these are the 4 outcomes we had. So it is related to learning outcome 1 and learning outcome 3. So in this way, it has linked all the activities that you are teaching with the learning outcome that you got. So if you want as a next step, this table is you can copy it and that you can actually open Google Sheets and paste it right away here. It's in a copy paste format and share it with the students or on any elements that you work on. So this is how you have created your 90-minute activity plan with a 2-page reading material that you can use during, let's say, reading or sharing it with your students. So this was a step on creating the content design. So this is where I used ChatGPT and Perplexity in combination. Any of you have used any slide generation AI tools? So let's say you want to create slides out of all the, let's say, the PDF content that we have here. So have you tried any tool? Okay, no worries if you haven't. So there are a lot of good actually AI tools are available nowadays. You don't have to manually create presentations. You can, there's presentations.ai, Gamma is there, Canva, yes, so Gamma, Canva, these are very popular ones. So presentations.ai also one which has come up. Gamma is also I've used a lot. If you want, you can try this also, presentation.ai. You can choose your role, let's say teacher persona. So here also you can paste the entire outline of the course. Let's say whatever we got from perplexity.ai. You can paste that entire content here and it can generate the slides for you. So let me try this. Yeah. So both Gamma and presentation AI you can use. Let me paste this here. So it also provides you two options: use only my content, or you want to do AI research also. I think some AI research components are available for free in presentation AI. You can let AI decide, or you can also manually pick how many slides you want. Let me run Gamma also parallelly. So these are two very popular tools that you can use. In Gamma, I think with free version, you can have only 10 slides. And this is presentations.ai. This is something recently I started using. Let's see how it performs. You see, it has started generating the slides for you in real time as we are speaking. So the things which used to take hours can now be done in few minutes with help of these AI tools. So whatever content we have pasted, it has taken that as an input. It is doing the analysis, the pre-processing challenges. It has generated relevant graphs also, but always do a proofreading. As you can see, it has generated something in Chinese. You might always want to go back and do that proofreading here. Also, every component that you see in Gamma is editable. So let's say you want to delete something, you want to rewrite something. You can just select that particular text or box and replace it. So it's not that this is something like a information which cannot be edited. So Gamma has finished the execution. So slides look really good, but always do a proofreading. Make sure all the content which is inside it is correct. So accuracy matters a lot. That's like the first thing whenever developing these sort of contents. So this is how you can just paste the reading material that you got from Perplexity, and Gamma can create slides for you. Similarly, presentations.ai is also a tool that you can try. It is also working on generating the presentation. It also looks good. Let's just see how the final product looks like. While it is generating this, we can move to the next topic. Let me close this. Yeah. Now the next task is the assessment phase. So whatever learnings we have done, whatever content we created, shared with the student, the next step is to do the assessment of that learning and the content that you deliver. For that, again, you can take help of ChatGPT to come up with the quizzes. And I'll show you two prompts that you can use to generate the quizzes for the assessment task. So here, this is the prompt that you can use. Yeah, so let's use this. You can paste the entire reading, or let's say you just say for data pre-processing. For data pre-processing, create 5 items for the assessment, 2 MCQ with misconception based distractor, 1 numeric question, 1 scenario short answer, 1 interpret the graph type of question, provide answer key. If you want, you can remove this line. Let's say you are doing assessment for yourself, so you can remove this, and but if let's say you're doing it for students, you can keep it, and also ask it to generate a 4x4 rubric for short scenario. So let's hit enter. So see, it has created 5 item mini assessment on data pre-processing. So misconception based is what we had put in the requirement. So using that, it has created 2 MCQs, like which of the following is the best reason to scale features before using KNN. So people sometimes get confused on similar sort of scaling methods. So it has generated 4 responses here, and it has also addressed the misconception also here. Then you have another misconception based MCQ question. After that, we had asked for a numerical problem. So this is what it has done, where student will need to work on the problem and come up with a numerical answer. Then there is a scenario short answer. So here you see you are pre-processing a data set for predicting house prices. You notice that feature lot size has a highly skewed distribution with a few extremely large properties. So the question is what pre-processing steps you should consider. So given a scenario, what sort of technique should be applied by students. So this is the kind of scenario short answer it has generated for you. Then the fifth was in the requirement, if you see, it was to interpret the graph. So this is what it has done. It has generated graphs, and which will be given as a quiz to a student, and they will be asked that what pre-processing decisions would be most appropriate based on this distribution and what is your rationale. So in this way, how you can generate assessment quizzes for a specific topic that you are interested in. Now for the questions which are not MCQ based, which are scenario based and interpret the graph. How you will do the assessment of students' answer. So it has generated a 4x4 matrix also for that. So here you have criteria and the level. So identification of the issue, how you should grade a student 4, 3, 2 versus 1. So on proposed method, how you would do the grading. So on these 4 criteria, it has come up with 4 scorings that you can apply basis on the rationality written here. So these are the rationale which you can go through, and basis on that you can give the scoring to students. So this is how you can take help of ChatGPT also to come up with the quizzes. Apart from that, there is another platform, Quizzy, which is very popular. This is again a teacher AI resource. So you can use this also actually to create quizzes with the help of AI. So you see, it's a very specialized education-based AI tool. So here you can click on create, and you see you get these options. You want to create flashcards, passage, video, presentation, assessment. So let's say you are specifically interested in assessment, you can click here, and generate quizzes. You can generate with AI, so you can just write a text prompt on which topic you want to generate quiz. You can specify number of questions that you are interested in and click on continue. You have options of specifying the grade university. So you have option till professional development university 12th grade. You can specify any grade if you want, but primarily the quizzes will be generated basis on the topic that you write here. So this is how you can take help of Quizy or Wayground type tools also, or you can always take help of ChatGPT also. The only thing you need to know what prompt you need to write to get the response. In meantime, we have the presentation available from presentation.ai also. So this also looks good. So if you want, you can try this also as an alternative to Gamma. So this was our assessment phase. The last phase now, this was assessment. Now the last phase is analytics phase, where analyzing the discussion summaries and learning insights. So let's say you have done the assessment of students and you have got some results, which you let's say have in Excel with you. So what always you can do, you can put those Excel results in ChatGPT and ask it to come up with which student is struggling in which area. So in Quizy, let's say you get responses in this format, that these were the questions, how many questions were answered correctly, and you have specific student names also. So let's say you have this information. So you can always copy these information along with the questions, paste it in ChatGPT, and ask it to come up with the areas of personalized focus areas for students. So you can actually you should upload, actually it will give a structured information to your ChatGPT for the analysis. So this is what you can upload, or you can, if you have Gemini, I think faculty and students are getting Gemini for free. So you can ask Gemini also here, which is integrated, and ask it to do the analysis here also. Also, let's say if you are using some LMS for discussion summaries, so you can use a prompt like this here. Let me show you the prompt. So let's say you have some discussion summaries which students are doing on LMS. So you can always export those discussion summaries, paste it in ChatGPT, and ask it to summarize these posts into themes, what misconceptions students are having. Based on the misconception, a 15-minute practice task you can create to clarify those misconceptions, and finally write a supportive 120-word announcement. So this is how you can do that. I don't have currently the discussion, so I can just say makeups of discussions on data pre-processing. This is how you can just maybe in here upload or paste the discussion and write this prompt as an example. So this was an analytics phase, how you can analyze students' results, students' grades, where they are doing good, where they are doing bad, and create personalized plans out of it. Now, let me talk about the how to use AI responsibly. So these are some quick notes I want to share with you. So whenever you are using AI tool, accuracy is first. As I already said, no AI is 100% correct. Always protect privacy. Never paste PII information of yours or student in these AI tools. Always anonymize it or redact it. Always make sure you are giving proper attribution. You are citing all resources and giving credits where it is due. Keep uh, Take care of accessibility standard. Whatever content that you are creating should be reachable, should be consumable by all sorts of students that you are teaching. Academic integrity. AI is okay for ideas, outlines, and practices, but it is not allowed for proctored tests. So always clearly disclose which AI uses are allowed versus which are prohibited, and the usage of AI detector. So as I told you, AI is not always 100% correct. So the AI detected tools are also not 100% correct. Sometimes they can be also unreliable. So instead of just grading student basis on the AI detector scores, ask students to maintain the versions and history of prompts which they have used to come up with a response. Conduct short viva from those versions. Don't use AI detector as a hard cutoff of selecting or not selecting something. So these are some responsible AI usage guidelines that you should always be aware of. Yeah. So yeah, with this, yeah, I have finished my presentation. Anyone, any question?
I think you can stop sharing. Shika, I think I can see
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shika, for sharing all the knowledge and insights about the AI tools. I'm sure the faculty members will use it and, uh, you know, use it and leverage it to better engage with the students and to inculcate the learnings further. Thank you so much. And is there a question that I see here? Is there any? Yeah, you already answered that.
Yeah.
Any site where I can download research papers for free? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this I
Thank you
have
so
asked.
much, and thank you to all the faculty members. We will see you again tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you, Shika.
good night.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.